To the world, the Franke family was the embodiment of love and wholesome values, a picture-perfect dream captured in vlogs that millions adored. But behind the curated perfection lay something far darker. Beneath the bright smiles were silent cries. Behind the warmth of their home, a chilling truth lurked, unseen by the loyal followers who believed in the illusion. No one knew the shadows that stretched beyond the frame, until the facade finally cracked. Before we continue this story, listen up. If you don't support child abuse, hit that like and subscribe button right now and tell me where you're watching from. Only folks who'd stand up for hurting kids would skip subscribing to this channel. So, if you're against child abuse and all forms of child endangerment, click subscribe this second, but if you're for it, just keep watching and ignore this. This is the story of Ruby Franke, the Utah mom who turned parenting into a YouTube empire. Through her channel, 8 Passengers, she became a symbol of discipline, faith, and family values. But behind closed doors, a much darker reality was unfolding, one that would send shockwaves across the internet and destroy her legacy. But who was Ruby Franke anyway? Ruby Franke, a devout Mormon mother, started 8 Passengers with her husband Kevin, a former BYU professor. The idea was simple: share their everyday lives with the world. The channel took off, pulling in millions of viewers who admired Ruby's parenting style and family values. By 2020, 8 Passengers was one of YouTube's biggest family vlogs, with 2.5 million subscribers and over 1 billion views. Ruby posted daily, giving followers an intimate look into her parenting style, strict but loving, or so it seemed. Ruby's approach to discipline started raising eyebrows. It wasn't just strict, it was extreme. By 2020, the concern had grown into a movement. A petition demanding an investigation into Ruby's parenting gained thousands of signatures. Viewers were begging for someone to step in. Years of red flags, ignored. But in August 2023, everything changed with a desperate 911 call. Authorities arrived at the home of Jody Hildebrandt, Ruby Franke's business partner. What they found was shocking: malnourished children, injuries consistent with prolonged abuse, and a house filled with horror. Ruby Franke and Jody Hildebrandt were arrested and charged with multiple counts of felony child abuse. The children were placed under state protection. Ruby's eldest daughter, Sherry, had long hinted that something was wrong. Now, she was finally free to say it out loud. For years, Ruby Franke built her brand on family values. But in the end, the truth couldn't stay hidden. The perfect family wasn't so perfect after all. What happens when the illusion shatters? When the cameras stop rolling, and reality takes over? For Ruby Franke, the answer was clear: the truth always comes out. August 30, 2023. The day everything fell apart. That morning, 12-year-old Russell Franke climbed out of a window at Jody's house, barefoot, starving, his ankles raw from duct tape. He ran to a neighbor's door, desperate. The neighbor, seeing him, dialed 911 immediately. Within minutes, police arrived. Russell was severely dehydrated and covered in wounds. He told officers he'd been tied up with rope and duct tape. Then, the bombshell: his 10-year-old sister, Eve, was still trapped inside. Both kids were rushed to the hospital. Doctors said they hadn't eaten properly in weeks, maybe longer. Their bodies told a horrifying story of neglect and abuse. Ruby and Jody were arrested that day, 6 felony counts of aggravated child abuse. A Utah charge that carries up to 15 years per count. Police searched Jody's house and found ropes, handcuffs, and journals detailing the horror. Ruby's perfect family image destroyed. Investigators uncovered more. Ruby had been shuttling her younger kids to Jody's home for treatment. Court docs later revealed Jody believed the kids were possessed and needed to be cleansed. Meanwhile, back in Springville, police searched Ruby's home. Her teenage daughters, Abby and Julie, were there, safe but shaken. Within hours, all 4 younger kids were placed in protective custody. As the case unfolded, things got darker. Prosecutors released a damning 17-page report in September 2023. It wasn't just Russell and Eve, this had been going on for months. Maybe years. Russell told police he'd slept on a concrete floor, sometimes tied up, for weeks. Eve said she'd been forced to stand outside for hours, her feet blistered, her skin raw. They spoke of being dunked in water, cayenne pepper rubbed into open wounds. Why? According to Ruby and Jody, they were saving the kids from sin. Court records show they believed the children were evil, influenced by Satan. Jody's seized journals were filled with chilling notes about purification. The internet exploded. Former fans turned on Ruby overnight. Hashtags like #RubyFrank arrested and #Save the Frank kids flooded X. People dug up old, 8 passengers clips, connecting the dots. The woman who once built a career on parenting advice had lost everything: her freedom, her family, her empire. With Ruby and Jody in prison, the Franke family shattered. The 4 younger kids, Abby, Julie, Russell, and Eve, were placed in state custody. Doctors and therapists stepped in to help them heal. Kevin Franke tried to step back into their lives. In March 2024, he filed for full custody, telling the court he wanted to bring them home. But it wasn't that simple. He argued that he had been away from his kids for too long and had no idea what his wife was doing. Not everyone believed him. Sherry and Chad didn't. In April 2024, Sherry posted on Instagram, "He knew more than he's saying. We all saw things." Chad told KUTV he blamed their father for not stepping in sooner. Kevin fired back. In October 2024, he sued Jody Hildebrand for $50 million, claiming she brainwashed Ruby and tore his family apart. That lawsuit is still pending as of March 31, 2025. Meanwhile, Ruby's older kids moved on. Sherry, now at BYU, became a voice for child welfare. In a January 2025 Good Morning America interview, she finally spoke out. "We were raised to smile for the vlogs, to make it look perfect. But it wasn't. I stayed quiet for too long, I won't anymore," she said. Chad, now on his own in Utah, started a small YouTube channel in 2024. He focuses on car repairs and life updates. He rarely talks about his mom, but in one video, he hinted at the past. Ruby's arrest shook more than just her family. The momfluencer world, a billion-dollar industry, faced a reckoning. People started asking, how much of this is real? And what's it doing to the kids? Dr. Lisa Holloway, a child psychologist, said, in a 2023 CNN segment, "These kids don't sign up for fame. They're put on display before they even understand what privacy is." Ruby Franke's case is extreme, but it's not unique. Social media was divided. Some defended family vlogging as harmless fun. Others called it child exploitation. A viral post from Child Rights Now, October 2023, got over 50,000 likes. Ruby Franke proved kids aren't safe on camera. Time to regulate this. Laws haven't caught up. But in 2024, Illinois passed the first bill requiring parents to set aside earnings for kids in family vlogs. Other states started drafting similar laws. For now, family vlogging is still thriving. But Ruby Franke's case left a mark. And the question lingers, who's really protecting these kids? Springville was shaken. This was a town where people knew each other from church, school, and the grocery store. Now, they were asking, how did we miss this? The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, where Ruby and Kevin were active members, kept quiet. A spokesperson told the Salt Lake Tribune in September 2023, "We condemn abuse in any form." But some wondered if the church's teachings on discipline blurred the lines for Ruby. Bishop David Elton, a local church leader, said in a 2024 Deseret News interview, "Ruby twisted things. Accountability isn't cruelty. That's not what we stand for." Neighbors had their regrets. One told KUTV they stopped seeing the younger Franke kids outside after 2021. Another said they often heard shouting from the house at night but assumed it was family stuff. Guilt settled over Springville. At a vigil in October 2023, people left candles and handwritten notes. One said, "We're sorry we didn't see." Ruby's case didn't just shake her town, it rattled the whole state. By early 2024, Utah officials were investigating DCFS's handling of the Franke kids. Records showed at least 6 welfare checks between 2020 and 2022. Nothing was done. DCFS rep, when grilled, said, "Each time, the kids were dressed, fed, in a clean home. We didn't have enough evidence to remove them." People weren't buying it. A 2024 audit, ordered by Governor Spencer Cox, found DCFS stretched too thin, handling over 50,000 cases a year with too few caseworkers. The Franke kids slipped through the cracks. By late 2024, Utah pumped $10 million into DCFS, hiring 50 new caseworkers. A new rule required follow-ups on repeat calls within 48 hours. But for Ruby's kids, it was too little, too late. Ruby's story became true crime gold. By fall 2023, it was everywhere: podcasts, TikTok deep dives, YouTube exposés. Dateline's special, The House on Purgatory Lane, aired in November. 4 million people tuned in. Netflix, Hulu, and HBO raced to get documentaries in the works. By mid-2024, HBO's House of Lies, the Franke story was the top-streamed true crime series of the year. Audiences couldn't look away. But as the headlines kept rolling, one question remained: could this happen again? This was Ruby Franke 10 years ago, a mom with a camera, a big family, and a dream. 8 Passengers wasn't just a channel, it was her identity. But somewhere along the way, that identity twisted into something unrecognizable. Fans loved the discipline at first. Ruby's tough love was relatable to some. But by 2020, it wasn't love anymore. It was control, captured in 4K for the world to see. When the arrests hit in 2023, YouTube pulled the plug. Every video, over 1,000 of them, vanished overnight. But the internet doesn't forget. Clips still circulate on X, Reddit, and archive sites, dissected by armchair detectives and former fans. The channel's ghost lingers, a digital tombstone of a family that never really existed. For some, it's a warning. For others, it's entertainment. Child psychologist, Dr. Emily Carter, had this to say: Ruby Franke's case is a perfect storm. You've got a woman with a rigid belief system, rooted in her faith, mixed with the validation of social media fame. Add a toxic influence like Jodi Hildebrandt, and it's a recipe for disaster. Experts like Dr. Carter have spent years unraveling Ruby's psyche. Was she a narcissist? A zealot? Or just a mom who lost her way? Carter says Ruby's Mormon background, where family and obedience are sacred, might have fueled her extremes. But it was YouTube that lit the match. Together, Ruby and Jodi built a worldview where pain was purity. The kids paid the price. Ruby's story isn't unique, it's a symptom. Family vlogging is a $20 billion industry today, with millions of kids on camera before they can talk. What happens when the lens turns off? In France, a 2020 law bans parents from posting kids online without consent after age 13. The US lags, but Ruby's case sparked bills in Illinois, California, and Utah by March 2025. None have passed yet. Many parents turned content creation into a family business, but at what cost? The push to perform perfection led to mental health crises for many children who grew up with cameras in their faces. Dr. Karen Sims, a child psychologist specializing in online culture, in a 2025 interview said, children exposed to constant surveillance can develop a skewed sense of reality. They're taught to perform rather than live, and that can cause emotional and psychological trauma. Yet, despite the risks, the trend continues to grow. There are few regulations and even fewer protections for the children at the heart of this content creation machine. In the wake of Franke's downfall, a growing movement calls for stricter regulations. But change doesn't come quickly. Will it be enough to protect the next generation? What do you think? Should there be stricter laws on family vlogging? Let us know in the comments. And if you want more deep dives into stories like this, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update.